The day the verdict was announced, the music world was stunned into silence. Arnel Pineda, the voice that once brought Journey roaring back to life, had just been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole by a San Francisco court. For many, the news was not just shocking, it was unfathomable. Pineda, long seen as the embodiment of the rags-to-riches dream, was now at the center of a chilling criminal saga. His journey from the streets of Manila to sold-out arenas across the globe had been heralded as a modern fairy tale, one of resilience, talent, and destiny. His story, immortalized in documentaries and lauded in interviews, had inspired millions. But that narrative came crashing down in an instant. The underdog hero had become the subject of serious allegations, with victims, evidence, and testimonies painting a very different picture. Before he was a fallen icon, Arnel Pineda was the dream personified. Born and raised in the Philippines amid poverty and instability, he endured homelessness, hunger, and hardship. As a teenager, he sang on street corners to survive, his voice, raw and emotive, earning a few coins at a time. In the early 2000s, he was a well-known figure in the Manila live music scene, performing mostly covers in local bars. Still, international fame seemed like an impossibility, until 2007, when Journey co-founder Neil Sean, searching YouTube for a new frontman, stumbled upon a grainy video of Pineda singing faithfully in a small club. Sean later said, "I got goosebumps, not from technique, but from the soul." It was Steve Perry's voice in a stranger's body. Emails were sent. Calls were made. And within weeks, Arnel Pineda, who had never left the Philippines, was standing in an American studio auditioning for the very band he had idolized. At first, Journey fans were skeptical. How could an unknown Filipino singer possibly replace a rock legend? But all doubts vanished once Pineda took the stage. His debut tour silenced critics and electrified audiences. In 2008, Journey released Revelation with Pineda as lead vocalist. It went platinum. From North America to South America, Europe to Asia, every venue sold out. A new wave of fans emerged, especially from Asian communities, drawn by Pineda's authenticity and remarkable backstory. The documentary Don't Stop Believin', Every Man's Journey soon followed, chronicling his rise from poverty to stardom. For millions, Pineda became proof that dreams really could come true. But where there is light, there are also shadows. While the world celebrated Pineda's success, a darker side was quietly taking shape, one that few wanted to acknowledge. In September 2022, a former backstage crew member filed a civil lawsuit in San Francisco, accusing Pineda of verbal abuse and threatening behavior during the band's 2019 tour. At first, it was dismissed as a personal dispute. Even Journey issued a statement in support of Pineda and asked for a fair investigation. As news spread, more individuals came forward, former crew, tour staff and female fans, sharing eerily similar stories. These accounts included being selected for private backstage meetings, emotionally manipulative interactions, and blurred lines between admiration and exploitation. Many described being promised career opportunities or personal mentorship, only to be subjected to behavior they later described as predatory. Prosecutor Rebecca Williams took the lead on the investigation. What began as a single complaint unfolded into a systematic pattern of abuse, she said. These weren't isolated incidents. They revealed a deeply disturbing strategy of manipulation and control, especially targeting the young and vulnerable. Some of the most disturbing testimonies came from the Philippines, where Pineda was revered as a national icon. Several women, some minors at the time, described being invited backstage under false pretenses, lured with promises of life-changing opportunities. One woman, identified only as Jane Doe No. 3, recalled, "He told me I reminded him of himself, full of dreams with nothing to my name. He said he could help me, like someone once helped him." Former security staff testified to a backstage list, a selection of fans chosen for private access. "At first, we thought it was standard celebrity protocol," said one. "Now, looking back, it makes my skin crawl." Details shared by victims aligned in uncanny ways, from coded language and specific venues to patterns of communication and grooming. What had once been dismissed as celebrity eccentricity now appeared to be evidence of long-term, calculated abuse. As the investigation gained traction, media outlets around the world began publishing their findings. Rolling Stone, CNN, The Guardian, all ran stories uncovering new testimonies and corroborating evidence. Public support for Pineda collapsed. Tours were cancelled, endorsements dropped, and Journey began distancing themselves. In June 2024, the trial of Arnel Pineda officially opened in San Francisco. Over 50 journalists lined the courthouse steps. On social media, the hashtag Justice for the Fans trended globally. The courtroom proceedings were devastating. Prosecutor Williams presented an unrelenting case, citing dozens of specific incidents spanning years and continents. The evidence was overwhelming, text messages, deleted photos recovered from cloud backups, secret audio recordings, and surveillance videos. Perhaps most chilling were files from Pineda's personal laptop. FBI forensic experts recovered diary entries encoded in a private system, detailing fan encounters with dates, names, and manipulation strategies. "This wasn't a personal journal," said analyst Thomas Wilson. "It was a playbook." Victims testified one by one. Some spoke through tears. Others remained composed but visibly shaken. What emerged was a pattern: abuse of fame, systematic targeting, emotional manipulation, and silence enforced by fear or shame. On the day the verdict was read, Arnel Pineda sat expressionless. The sentence: life imprisonment, no parole. The courtroom was silent, but outside, emotions ran high: grief, outrage, disbelief. The man who once symbolized hope and perseverance had become a cautionary tale. His story now stands as a sobering reminder that charisma and talent do not excuse abuse, and that even the most inspiring public image can mask profound harm. The fall of Arnel Pineda forces us to ask hard questions about the nature of fame, trust, and the myths we choose to believe. The announcement of Arnel Pineda's guilty verdict sent shockwaves through the music world. Once celebrated as the lead vocalist of Journey and a living testament to resilience, Pineda was now a convicted criminal, sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The courtroom sat in stunned silence as the jury delivered its decision, and the world watched in disbelief as the inspirational icon's story crumbled under the weight of horrifying truths. Throughout the trial, the prosecution laid out a chilling case rooted in patterns of manipulation, control, and calculated abuse. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a text exchange between Pineda and a logistics team member, discussing how to secretly escort one of the victims, Jane Doe No. 3, through a back exit, like before. The message was backed by surveillance footage, geolocation data, and diary entries from Pineda's own laptop, forming a disturbingly consistent pattern. Financial records revealed suspicious payments routed through third parties, aligning with the identities and timelines of several accusers. Former Journey financial manager Brian Robertson testified that he had processed these payments without fully understanding their purpose. "We thought they were gifts or support fees," he said, "but now I see how blind we were." Witness after witness took the stand: former staff, backstage crew, and fans, many breaking into tears as they described what had happened. One woman said, "I thought he was the only person who understood what it felt like to be overlooked. I didn't think he'd use that understanding to hurt me." The emotional climax came when Journey's own bandmates spoke. Keyboardist Jonathan Cain admitted, "The evidence is undeniable. I didn't want to believe it, but I can't ignore the truth." Neil Sean, the man who discovered Pineda, stated bitterly, "I brought Arnel into this world. Now I carry that burden." Even Steve Perry, the band's legendary former frontman, had a statement read aloud in court: "My heart is shattered, not only for the victims, but for the music that once healed and now represents pain." The defense attempted to salvage Pineda's image. His attorney, Michael Coleman, argued that many of the interactions were consensual and that shifting cultural standards had unfairly recast past behavior. They presented letters from fans praising Pineda's generosity and cited his charitable work in Manila. Pineda himself took the stand, speaking softly through emotion. "I know what it feels like to have nothing," he said. "I never meant to hurt anyone. But if I did, I'm sorry." However, these words couldn't outweigh the avalanche of evidence. After just 11 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict on all major charges. Sentencing day was somber. Pineda, noticeably gaunt and emotionally drained, bowed his head as Judge Eleanor Ramirez sentenced him to life without parole. "You were once a symbol of hope," she said. "You exploited that trust. And for that, the highest sentence is warranted." Victims also took the opportunity to speak. One woman recalled how Journey's music once gave her comfort. Now, she said, even hearing the melody of Don't Stop Believin' made her feel ashamed and violated. "He didn't just take my safety," another said. "He stole the beauty from the memories tied to the music I once loved." Journey immediately released a statement severing all ties with Pineda and announced the creation of a victim support fund sourced from royalties of music recorded during his tenure. Despite these efforts, the damage was done. The band's legacy is now marred by scandal, and their fan base fractured. Social media was flooded with posts of sorrow, anger, and betrayal. "Pineda once proved the poor could shine," one fan wrote. "Now, knowing he used that story to manipulate others makes me feel foolish for ever believing in something good." Beyond the personal collapse of Arnel Pineda, the case exposed deep flaws within the music industry. Psychologist Dr. Rebecca Torres explained, "We often assume that those who've suffered won't cause harm. But trauma doesn't exempt someone from moral accountability." Many victims said they hesitated to speak up because of the powerful image Pineda projected: a survivor, a hero, someone who couldn't possibly do wrong. That image acted as a shield, deflecting scrutiny and silencing doubt. The trial also highlighted a long-standing culture of silence in the entertainment world. Tour crew, staff, and even some band members admitted they had noticed strange behaviors but chose not to question them. What happens on tour stays on tour, was the unspoken rule. But now, that rule is being rewritten. In the aftermath of the case, major promoters like Live Nation and AEG introduced new policies, including mandatory surveillance in VIP areas, verified guest lists, and independent hotlines for complaints. The fall of Arnel Pineda is more than the downfall of a musician, it's a cautionary tale about belief. Belief in fairy tales, in dreams, in the redemptive power of music. And yet, it's also a painful reminder: no origin story, no matter how humble, can shield someone from accountability. Pineda's background, his talent, his rise to stardom, all of it became the very tools through which he gained trust and committed harm. And now, the story that once inspired millions will forever carry the shadow of his crimes. Leave a comment and share your thoughts after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our latest uploads. Thank you for watching. See you in next video.